Okay, so many questions to answer. And I don't need my glasses really. If I was maybe what they call it, if I was maybe on on my computer, I might need my glasses, but I don't. So guys, good evening. How you doing, guys? Everyone. My American friends, I know this is afternoon. Good afternoon. How's your day going? And my Nigerian friends, yay! Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm kind of flying the color today. I want to really say thank you for tuning in and please stay. Um, my home country is in another sad state. I mean, there are so many sad things happening every day. It's sad, and I don't like the fact that it feels helpless. Sometimes I come online to just rant about these things. Well, we hope that someday, somehow, we are going to get it right in Nigeria. My heart goes out to everyone who is related to someone who has lost someone. All of us are related because we are Nigerians, right? Okay, so but tonight I'm going to be answering 15 questions. My 8-year-old daughter is here. She's going to be asking me all the 15 questions. We are supposed to have done this shoot for like 3 days now, right? Or so. And she keeps saying, Mom, you have to do this shoot. We have to do this shoot. We have to do this shoot. And I said, okay. So tonight, she's going to ask me questions about my book. She's seen me write it, go back and forth with it. You know, she even knew when we got the ISBN, which was when the book was not even done, right? So I'm going to be answering her questions. And yes, you might not be able to see her, right? But I'm going to be answering her questions. You're going to hear from me. My internet kind of slow. I'm seeing slow connection. I just hope you can hear me, guys. Let me know if you can hear me. Well, we're going to kick off by starting with the first question. Pepe, are you ready?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so go ahead. Ask away. Okay.
My first question is,
Okay.
what problem made you rise professional rates? Do many people have this problem?
That's amazing. Well, the problem majorly is the fact that I see a lot of intelligent people, a lot of people who have, like who know what to do, who have skill in particular area, especially in my field, which is reading and writing. These people are like they understand letters, they are skilled, they have ideas, they can also do stuff, and sometimes they are the lowest paid, not because anybody is on their neck per se, but because of the problem that this book is trying to solve, which is that they don't understand how to price their work. So that was the problem that made me say no. And again, it's not even just the problem I saw, it's the problem I lived. I was like that. I always used to be a place where I'm like, oh my God, when will I ever get, in fact, when will I ever make my first million? I did business like 2009 to 20, 10 years before I was able to make a 1 million naira profit on anything. Yes. So, and I knew I was intelligent. I knew many people who were, churning out substandard work, but were earning in millions. And I always wondered why. I tried so many things to try to come out from that trap of low pricing. When I finally got it, I knew that this was a game changer. And of course, it took me a lot of years to be able to share it. But I thought, why not? If my book can help one person to earn better, then they are able to fend for their families better. They're also able to pay their staff. The quality of their life will just improve. And for me, that's human. That's what they call it now. That's the community service. That's humanity at its best. And so I thought, let me write it. And you asked whether a lot of people have this problem. A lot of millions of people have this problem, especially people who offer services. A lot of people have this problem of, oh, what should I charge? Many people just copy other people's prices. Some just guess. So yeah, that's why. So number two question, if you're ready.
Um, since you started working in 2009, what have you seen people do wrong when they charge for their work?
Hmm. A lot. I've seen people like what I was even saying in the first question. I've seen a lot of people just guess, like They just feel, oh my God, somebody asked me how much I'm selling this or how much I'm editing this. I can edit their book. And oh my God, how much do they would even ask their friends, like, how much do you think I should charge? Oh my God, should I say 100,000? Or should I say 500? Do you think they will stay if I say 300? So it's arbitrary. They just guess. They look at now they look at, okay, let me look at the sum of money that at least can help me solve a problem. I know I used to be like that. At least, like, okay, if 100K comes into my hand right now, it will really solve a problem, so let me just charge them 100K if they can pay. They forget the work that they are going to do. They forget the timing and how long it will take them. Oh my gosh, they forget all the judgment that they have to make while doing this work. And of course, how much value that they are giving this person who they are serving, their client. So that's one thing. People guess their work. Some people just guess off the top of their head. Some other people, another mistake people make is that some people copy other people's work prices now. So they go to online or maybe ask a friend or ask somebody else who does that kind of thing and say, how much do you charge for your services? And they tell them. They might even charge lower or higher depending, just benchmarking themselves with people's prices. So those are some of the ways I see people charge that is not okay. And at the end of the day, you do a lot of work, and then by the time you're done, you're fagged out. You'll be asking yourself, was it really worth it? You feel like you spent so much time on this work and it was so rigorous and the pay was so little. So that unhappiness you feel like, this thing is not really paying me. You know, I went through it and I don't want other people to go through it as well. Yeah, so that's some of the mistakes.
Can you tell a true story of someone who charged their price after learning from you?
After learning from me.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, great. I mean, there are many instances. One of them that is very striking, or one of my first, is Chinyere Distinguished. Chinyere Distinguished, hi girl. Chinyere Distinguished was one of the first two people who ever took my online course in 2018 when it wasn't even properly structured. But something happened after that training. I also didn't just teach them pricing and other things. I also taught them how to edit, of course, but I also taught them, or rather, I also gave them templates, like actually how my invoice is, how my agreement is, so that they can onboard clients, and structure their pay. And she told me something very remarkable, like years later, I think 2 years later, and said, they almost see it was when she started quoting properly, sending people proper invoices, taking her price without blinking, that clients started taking her seriously. So yes, that's one. And there are so many other people who have had that, oh my gosh, moment. Oh my, I didn't know this will work, from learning from me. Yeah. And a lot of people have learned from me. So yeah, that's one instance. Or should I give another story?
Maybe.
Another story. Okay. And another one is, even I have a lot of them on my DM. Somebody, there's a lot of people who have come to me to say, oh, this client is asking for this price, or they are asking for their prices to be lower, like they're bargaining, and I just tell them what to do, how to say, how to, make more like how to validate their value, so that the person sees the amount of work that is going to go into the work, and of course teach them how to structure their quote in a way that the person will understand why it costs that much, that's if it's even much. And yeah, there are lots of people like that, that I can't start mentioning their names one after the other.
What's what is the difference between being cheap and charging the right price?
Uh-huh. The difference between being cheap and charging the right price. So being cheap is when people say, "Oh, I want to make my prices affordable," right? And then charging the right price is what I'm talking about in professionally, which I'm saying charge professionally, right? Of course, there are two different things. Being cheap means that you are considering more, you're making your price more about the clients, right? You are thinking in your head like, oh my gosh, this client says they want, okay, maybe you're charging them 15 naira, and the client will say, oh, I have 13 naira. So you're trying to be affordable. You are trying to make that particular client feel like, okay, I can afford you. But charging the right price means Charging a price that is clear, that people can understand how you arrived at the price. They see the value, they see the different steps, the your position, and the work that you're going to bring, that will make them feel like, oh my god, oh great. Like, I have a lot of clients who, by the time we send our quote, they'll say, oh nice, I didn't know it would cost this much, but give me a couple of days, I'm going to come back. Because they could see that, oh my gosh, I undervalued what I thought this would take, but this is real work, and there's a lot of rigor. So I get it. I may not have it now, but I will make sure I go get it. So being affordable is when you're pandering more to a particular client. You're thinking, oh, I want this client to be able to afford it. But pricing properly, like what I'm saying, it has certain things that has to be in place. It's about making sure that you're pricing about on the volume, on the market that you're trying to target, time, and some other variables that must be considered and itemized to arrive at a price. So that's what you mean by, with professional pricing, you can be high or low. It doesn't matter. It depends on who you want to serve. You get it?
Yeah.
All right. The fourth question, number four, right?
5.
Number 5. Oh, okay, great. So I've answered 4 questions already.
Why do people who are very good at their work still charge too little?
Charge too little. Oh, great. Why do people who are great at their work charge so little? I would say it's because nobody taught them how to charge their worth. Most times, it's not really taught. I remember one of the first mentors who taught me like a breakdown on how to charge profitably. It was Ubon King. He was the first person who I attended his class. I think that course was it profitable? I can't remember now. He gave us a breakdown of exactly what and what should be included in pricing. So I would say a lot of people who are smart, doing great work, earn so little because they were never taught how they should arrive at their prices properly. Yeah. So that's it. That's what I would say. And some other people as well, because I know this one happened to me. Some other people too, by the time they learn, they are too afraid to implement the prices. They are afraid of, oh, people say I'm going to lose clients. Like I lost clients, in 2014 when I changed my prices. So some people can't stand it. They can't go. They can't wait to see what will come out later, after that whole chaotic time where people are saying, "Oh my God, it's so expensive. I can no longer work with you." They can't wait to see the aftermath. Me, I waited to see the aftermath. Maybe because I had a 9 to 5 then, so I didn't care. I was like, okay, if they don't want, they should just leave it. So when I started getting new set of clients who paid me without even sent me gift afterwards, after paying me what I thought was a high fee, I knew that this method works. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What what things should help someone decide how much to charge?
What should help someone decide how much to charge? Um, Let me say it in a broad sense, in 3 particular ways. The volume of your work, which is how many pages of work that needs to be generated, if it is editing or writing. Because again, in this book is not only for editors who are editing work, it's also for editors who write and editors who manage projects. I think that's another thing I have to, I'm not think I mentioned it in my marketing. So editors are the best people to edit your work. Editors are also the best people to handle your writing, ghostwriting. Editors are also the best people to manage your book projects. Yeah. So it depends on the aspect, but looking at just editing, you must consider how many pages, like the volume of work that you're to work on. Secondly, time that it will take you. How long is it going to take you? How many days? How many weeks? That has to be accounted for. And of course, okay, let me short 4 things instead. Scope, like how long, or rather, how big, or what are the details of work or areas of need that this manuscript needs. You need to diagnose it. Do you know what diagnosis is?
Mm.
You have to diagnose it and be sure of the amount of work you need to do. If not, you'll get into the work and you'll feel, oh my God, this is too much work. I didn't see it coming. Then the final thing is, of course, who you're trying to reach. So your price must attract the people you're trying to reach. Some people want to reach, early starters, writers. Some people want to reach leaders, people, CEOs, and all that. Some people want to write for or edit for presidents, for kings, for
Yeah.
people like that. So their prices has to show that, So those are things to consider when you're arriving at your price. Yeah.
Okay. What happens to a business when the price is too low?
Hmm. First of all, the business might even not exist after a while. You know how if you do keep working, 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 breaking your back, you know how mommy used to work sometimes and her back is
Yeah.
paining her and she's like, oh my gosh, and she has to, So if you keep working like that, after a while, maybe your health will fail. Like what happened to
I
me, I told you
know.
in 2015 when I woke up and I was half paralyzed. If you're half paralyzed, you can't walk again now. You can't even manage your staff. So you'll be like, the work will shut down. So if you earn so little, your business will not exist anymore. And that will be sad because a lot of people need your work. They need to pay to get their problem solved. So if your business packs up because you could not buy drugs to take care of yourself, or like my eye, I don't have, how much it cost me to go get her glasses, and I even have two, you know. So if you can't afford to pay, you know, for eye check, you can't afford to pay for your glasses. You after a while you will look for something else that won't stress you out so much and pay you more, and with that your business won't exist. So if you've charged so low, you're gonna run out of business, and your business will not be able to bring the value that it's supposed to bring for the world. So it's a dangerous place to be.
Yeah.
I just pray this thing is recording. I just seen slow network. Hope so though. Let's go.
Okay.
Yeah.
What makes what mistake do people make when they are choosing their prices?
The mistake people make when they're choosing their prizes.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. It's just like something I've answered before. You asked me something like this before. One, they assume that they are just going to be changing grammar, helping somebody's work to sound better. They don't understand that they are solving sometimes a legal issue for this person. I know a client I worked with in 2023. She's one of the people I love to use as an example because not only because of the process of the work, but because of how she markets her book. She takes her book to all the countries she's going. She's always talking about. I loved her marketing anyway. But what happened in that book was that the way she wrote it originally, she it would have sort of exposed one of her family members in a way that was not going to be good. That after some years, or even the family member might feel very vulnerable by that writing. So I had to make her to expunge that part of the work, just leave it. There's a way we referenced it without going deeply into the details she gave. So those are the kind of risks that editors help writers avoid, right? So you can write something that might make somebody sue you, you see. But an editor will spot it and say, oh, no, 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 we can remove it, we can still do it this way, that way. So if editors understand and again, the fact that you make your work very polished so that people think of you highly as a writer is a lot of value that you can't buy with money, right? But some editors make the mistake of thinking that they're just changing the grammar, making it sound well, and they forget that the money even that the person is going to keep making from the book, they're not going to pay them again. You get? The
Yeah.
work is just once. So yeah, those are some of the mistakes some editors make. Oh my god, I
Sorry.
jumped something. Okay. Do you have more
Oh.
questions? How many have we done? Okay, say 15. We've done how many?
Um.
7? Is it 7 or 6?
8.
Oh, we've done 8. Okay.
How do happy clients who come back show that your method works?
Okay, how do happy clients who come back
Yeah.
show that our method works? Oh my gosh. I've had clients who keeps coming back from 2009. Like, if we messed up their work that first time, do you think they'll come back?
No.
They won't. Right? Okay, exactly. So I have
And
clients who keep,
and
yeah,
instead they even tell more people
not to
not to
come.
come.
Exactly. You get it. So if we messed up their work the first time, they will, even when they hear some people talking about us, they will just say, don't go there, those people will mess up your work. Do you understand? But the fact that they keep coming back, beautiful. I mean, even up to yesterday also, we didn't send any invoice today. No, we didn't send any invoice. Yesterday we sent an invoice And in fact, we had just even reviewed our price again.
Yeah.
And this client didn't mind, right? The client didn't mind at all. So that the fact that people come back and people also give us gifts. Yes, we have had several times where people they used to call and say, "Oh my God, I'm going to give your team maybe $100 in addition to the work." People have sent me shoes. People have sent me things. People have sent me cake. Different things like in the in the course of my work. So I know that this method works. And you know me, if it doesn't even work, I won't even be sharing it with other people. I'll just keep doing my thing. So it works. Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm. I'm waiting.
What does your book teach people to help them know what to charge?
What do my book teach people?
To know, to
To
learn?
know, okay,
Mm.
what to charge. It teaches them, first of all, how what they do is very important as editors. It teaches them all the different services that they should be charging for, that maybe some are not charging. It teaches them step by step, like literally step by step on how to arrive at their fee. And it does not tell them charge 1,005, charge $2, charge no. It does not also leave them hanging like, fix your own fee, no. It gives them a step by step guide. So but by the time you say, okay, so my answer to this question is this, my answer to that question is this, my answer to this is this. By the time you calculate it, you come to a total. That total becomes the cost you're going to quote for the client. So it's very mathematical, logical. It's amazing because I'm not someone that really like maths, right? But I love money. So I like to calculate my money.
I don't like math.
I don't like math, but I like money. But imagine that I wrote this book, it's because it's simple. People can follow it easily and it works all the time. Because it's something I have done repeatedly over the years. So so those are the things that the book teaches people. How to know the value of what they do, the different services that they can cash into as editors, all the different types of pricing that they can calculate, how to calculate it, and then how to make their quote in a way that when a client sees it, they'll say, all right, take my money. The client won't be saying, hey, it's expensive. No. So I even also taught them what to do though. If clients still look at their quote and feel, oh, it's too expensive, can you reduce it for me? I taught them also what to do. You see, the book is so amazing, right?
Yeah. Right.
I'm waiting for you.
What should someone do if a client asks them to reduce their?
As if I knew this question was coming.
Yeah.
What should I tell them to do when a client says they should reduce their price? First of all, we have to explain to the client, explain your quote to your client. Your quote has to be clear, by the way, which is what I'm teaching in the book. That's why people need to buy it. My the way I thought the quoting aspect, the client will get clarity. But even if a client says, "Oh my God, is there a way you can do this?" First of all, if people are asking for a reduction in price, they have to be okay with reducing something. Like for instance, my like a typical quote should be like, okay, I'm going to give you five apples if you give me $5. I'm giving an example. If you give me $5, I'm going to give you five apples. Then somebody now comes and say, oh, I can't give you $5 again. Can I give you four? What will you do? You say, okay, so I'll remove one apple and give you four apples. You know, that kind of thing. That's one way. So that's at the extreme. You can give people value because they might not even need all of that. So you can just say, okay, can we adjust this? Can we reduce the number of this? Can we do this? And there are many other things too. You can tell them, which is in the book. Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
How does how you present yourself help you charge more?
How you present yourself is so important. Yes, if you present yourself, if you're someone that people call you on phone or WhatsApp chat and say, "Oh, please take my book," and they send it to you on WhatsApp and say, "Please, how much is it?" I just tell them one price off the top of your head immediately. Of course, they're going to argue, they're going to negotiate and say, oh, bring it lower, do this. They will not even trust that you might do a good job, except they worked with you before. So if you're working with people in a way that is not structured, you don't have an invoice, you don't have a letterhead, you are not using email correspondence, they'll feel like they don't know what to expect. So how you actually show yourself matter a lot. If you want to be taken seriously, also treat your clients like you take them seriously. So send them emails, send them follow-up questions, answer all their questions, stuff like that. It's very important. And everybody should also choose who they want to serve. If you want to serve people who are like high school leavers or teachers, people like that, you put your price at the price that they can also afford and speak their language as well. If you want to reach, like I said before, so it's very important you do what you need to do. There are clients that if you must get them, you must have your brochure printed out, colored, beautiful. You must meet them in gatherings and give it to them. So it depends on who you want to, how you package yourself actually matter. Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
How can someone move from low paying client to better paying client safely?
Safely, right?
Yeah.
How can they move from low paying clients and like, okay, first of all, it's not going to be instant. Remember what I told you that in 2014, when I changed my price for the first time, some people that were already working with me then, every time they stopped working for me, they're like, I keep saying for me, they stopped working with me. And that time I was still working, it was just me and two contract staff at the time. Most of them say, oh, you're so expensive, and they didn't come back. I didn't mind because I understood that it's not going to be instant. It's going to be a process. So people who have been serving clients who pay them low and they now want to start, you know, charging higher, and they must adjust and be patient, so that they can new clients will come and understand their value. They should also repackage, brand, like have all those things I was talking about before. Have your letterhead, have your invoice, do more of email correspondence, go out and meet people, tell them what you do, and also let them know how long you've been doing what you're doing. If people know that you've been doing this thing for like 5 years, 3 years, 6 years, 16 years, like myself, they might believe you more, right? Than if you're just starting out, they will think you're using them as experiment. So yeah, those are some things you must do if you want to move to higher paying clients. And also the details in this book will help you. You have to learn to calculate your costs in a way that the client will see exactly how you came about the price. So they don't feel like there are hidden charges. There are some charges that you're not explaining properly and they feel like they can, negotiate. Yeah. That's why I actually wrote the book, so that it's easy for people to move from that low level paying client to getting high paying clients safely. Yeah. Okay.
What must someone start thinking differently about before they can charge well?
What will somebody start thinking differently about?
Yeah.
Okay. First of all, like I think I mentioned some of them, you should start thinking about the value that you bring as an editor. Also start thinking that money is in abundance, because some people think that money is scarce. So that's why they used to charge low. So money is in abundance. And again, you're not in business just because you want to make money. Money is important. I mean, is you have to make profits to be in business. But what I mean by that is that remember that you're serving value. If you don't, if you in particular maybe don't serve your particular client, it's possible that they may never have their work properly done. So always have in mind that you are such a big deal. You must begin to see yourself as such a big deal. You must begin to see that there's abundance in the world and that there are people who want to pay you big money. They don't mind. They're not looking at the money, they're looking at the value. You must begin to think of the value you bring and the catastrophe that people's books can go through if they don't meet you as your editor. Imagine, like in 2010, do you know that I had a client who came, a friend of mine told him he was so devastated. Well, I didn't understand until he arrived. he came and said he had already done published his book. They printed 1,000 copies, only for him to now discover that there were errors, and that's because he wrote the books for schools, for schools to approve it and use it in schools. Then the Educational Resource Center now read it and said, no, your book is not good. Your book has American spelling and UK spelling. Your book is, they pointed about three things. I can't remember all the three things now. And he was shocked. He thought he would be able to tell them, please now, please take my book. They said, no, they can't accept it, except he goes to correct those things. And these books were already printed, 1,000 copies. He was so devastated. So if you see that value as an editor, you will not be able to be, you won't be pricing just anyhow. So that's what it is really about. Editors will begin to see themselves as bringing a lot of value. I feel like the world is abundant. People want to pay you not because of money, but because they know the value you bring. There was a third thing I said I forgotten. They will also be okay, yeah. So those are the ways that people must be able to think differently before they can begin to charge professionally.
Who should not read this book and why?
Who should not read this?
That is a very big question.
Is that the final question?
Yeah.
Who should not read this book? Anybody who wants to make money now. Like the person doesn't even want to edit anything. The person doesn't want to write anything. The person doesn't want to talk to clients and get them to trust them to do their work. Then that person doesn't need this book. Anybody who doesn't have anything they are selling, this book is not for them. Anybody who just doesn't want to improve other people's life, doesn't want to sell anything. Yeah, majorly for me, that's that. I think every other person who is in a service business, who is an editor, whether the editor edits book, whether the editor writes books or writes for people, or the editor manages book projects, or the editor is handling a range of editors in an agency, they are the ones that need this book. Yeah, is that the final question?
Yeah, that's all.
Yay! Finally, I'm done. So, guys, we have been talking about 15 things. Question. This girl can ask me question. Give me a high five, Joe.
Yeah. Let's say tomorrow I'll show you guys what I made for my mother.
That word is not for my book now. So, guys, hi, UD in the building. I was thinking this was not working because I haven't seen anybody. Okay, I think one person has come up and gone. So 15 things that are very critical about my book, Professional Rates. My daughter has been asking me questions, and you're such a good interviewer. Pepe.
Yeah.
You're good. Yeah.
Very, very good.
My daughter has been asking me questions, and I've been answering them, and I hope you found it insightful. I'm so excited about this book. And it's going to be available on the 30th of April. And before then, people are already buying. So for those who are asking whether they can still buy a pre-order prices, the prices has already changed. But please go to the link in the bio. Not in my bio, John. The link in the comment section right here. And please buy. We have only two formats for this book, the hardcover and the read online version. You won't be able to download the read online. You just read it online. Log on anywhere you are in the world and read it very swiftly, right? So those are the options available. And yeah, so these are the reasons why I wrote this book. And I'm hoping that you buy for someone. If you run a school or you run an agency, an editorial agency or so, you need this book. Your staff need this book. And I'll see you guys on the other side. Thank you so much for watching and tuning in. My internet keeps saying slow connection. I just hope this whole interview was recorded. Anyway, all right. Good night from here. Catch ya from me and Pepe. Bye. Come on, say, hey, hi.
Hi.
Bye. Let me finish.